Y'all. So let's get into it, right? Let's get into it, y'all. 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 Yeah. Yo. So I'm gonna say this, y'all. It's gonna be short, quick, and simple, hopefully, right? Because I always say that, and then God be just taking me through there. Y'all. So I told y'all like what God talked to us through what science, synchronicities, numbers, right? Alphabets, music, all of it, right? Videos, movies, all of it. God talked to us through everything. It's just up to you to pay attention. And so it's crazy, y'all, because like people don't understand what it is they be doing, right? So I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit of my business, and I normally don't share my business like that. I do, but it's normally on the teaching side of things, right? Compact, what is it, contrast? What is it? Contrast and compare. But anyways, you got to be more careful. You have got to be more careful. That's all I'm saying. It's always somebody out here that want what you got, want what you they think you getting, and out here playing in that shit, trying to make shit fit, right? And align your destiny with their life. You got to be more careful. You understand? And so, anyways, y'all, to put y'all up in my business. I've been dating a Caucasian, right, for over 4 years, right? No, just not going into 4 years. And um I've never really known nobody in my family like that to like really be with a Caucasian man, right? That I know of. And it's crazy because a person that's attached to my family, right? It's a family member of mine's best friend, right? And she's been in our family for a long time because how she's connected in. This individual recently got them a Caucasian man, right? And so let's be honest, we can tell when somebody doing this, like what is it called, destiny hopping, popping, and swapping, right? These people be thinking that they so genius in their actions, and these people go as far as playing in spell work, right? This is one of the people that God has been telling me that has been playing in spell work and been doing a lot of destiny hopping, popping, and swapping right throughout my life, along with this other family member that she hangs with. You have to be careful what it is that you calling on of somebody else's and what you think that somebody else's, right? Everybody think that this is it this time, right? As you go on your journey, right? Get on your healing journey and God begin to reveal and show things to you, right? You are, for the most part, able to decipher what is what. You understand? So, a lot of times throughout our lives, I do believe in certain things, right? I feel like a lot of times you end up with certain people, places, and things, and in certain places and spaces. Sometimes you can owe that place and space karmic debt, all different type of things, right? But I'm just going to leave it there at the surface so y'all can understand what I'm saying, right? Sometimes you can owe a thing, a person, place, or thing. I feel like karmic debt, right? And certain things has to be paid back. Depending on what it is that you did in different lifetimes. I believe in other lifetimes. I believe in all that stuff, right? I believe in reincarnation. Oh, yes, I do. And so, with different things that I looked up, right? I believe in God and all these different things. I don't want to go too deep off into it. But as God been revealing to me since I've got my own relationship with him, that a lot of things that I have been taught have been completely and utterly wrong, right? Some of it is, it's like a lot of truth and lie mixed together, right? And so when you begin to get your own relationship with God, and you begin to ask questions, right? I've always been that person, even since a child, that I always ask questions. My granny always say, "You gonna get it? You just don't know when to stop, right?" Hey, but like I said in another video, I wish you would have went about it a different way. But what I started to learn as I got older, they really didn't know, right? And they stopped right there, and that's okay because that was their journey, right? But as I've been getting my own personal relationship with God, and God been showing me certain things, right? Certain people, places, and things was never for me. Actually, it's like you owe that place and space, that karmic debt, until you pay that off, right? And then you move on to the next place, depending on your mission, right? Everybody mission and everybody thing is not the same. Some people, what they call chosen, all that type of stuff. A lot of people say things they don't even know what the hell that mean, right? I feel like sometimes you are reincarnated in that place, in that space, especially when those bloodlines are filthied up, right? Or they need to be cleaned up. God will place you into that bloodline to break certain things off that bloodline, right? But anyways, it's all what they call the black sheep, right? Them black sheep are placed into that bloodline to break certain things off that bloodline because they just keep coming and just won't and keep doing the same thing and they keep doing the same pattern, right? And it is people throughout that bloodline that go so far with the breakage and then you come, right? That's how I feel about that. From my own findings, my own studies, what I've been seeing, right? And other people's testimonies, other people's stories, my own, right? My own stories and the things that I've seen. And so as time went on, I began to notice strange behaviors, right? And I said, okay, God, what is this? And God was like, that is a thing. And I'm gonna say this as well. Almost a year back, it's been close to a year now. At that time I was questioning God on certain things, right? You know how you can meet somebody and when you meet with that person, you would click with them and they just seem so freaking familiar, right? And then you and that person a lot of times become best friends, and some people even marry that person, right? Or just that person, even if that person is a friend and they ran into them, that person be in their life for the rest of their life. But when you met them, they was familiar. You understand? Like their presence was familiar, right? They spirit, they eyes, something about them was familiar. And it creates that comfortability. You can walk past a million people and you don't feel comfortable, but it's that one person you walk past and it's like, damn, I click with that person. That's not by coincidence. You understand? And so, with this particular person, right? I do believe that it was karmic debt, for whatever reason. But what's crazy is, almost a year ago, I had this dream, and in this dream, God showed me that in his dream I seen a man, and he was bald, right? And he was like real strong. He was muscular, and he had all these children with him. I don't want to go into detail. I think I said this in another one of my videos, but so I don't feel like repeating myself. If I didn't, I'll go through my stuff and look. But who's going through all that looking all like that? I try to kind of snip through some of it to see if I told that. If not, then I'll tell it. But anyways, I had this dream, and in this dream, it was a man in this dream, and he was bald, nice looking guy. He had all these muscles and all this stuff, right? And he had children with him, and in his dream, I'm just gonna tell like a little bit. In his dream, he was walking on the side of this road, but when it got a certain part of the day, like when the sun began to rise throughout the night, he could walk kind of on the regular kind of looking dirt roads. They wasn't roads then, but they was like dirt roads, right? He can walk along these roads in the nighttime. And throughout the night, and then when it got day, he kind of had to venture off kind of towards the side of the road into the woods, right? Throughout the light, right? Throughout the daytime, he couldn't be seen, and I seen him walking with, it looked like two younger kids, and then he had a baby on him, right? And then I walked all the way down, right? This guy walked, basically it was me, right? This guy walked all the way down this dirt road and followed this path at nighttime. He can walk on the dirt road. Throughout the day, he can kind of, he had to go off into the woods so he wouldn't be seen. And I remember at a part of this dream, I heard all these dogs barking like he was being searched for, but it was certain hiding space that he can go into and certain stuff that he can wear, certain type of smell he can put on him and his children, so the dogs couldn't really track them like that, right? And so like this was like in deep detail that I had this dream, and so this guy goes off on he continued to walk. He get to this house, and it was a random house in the middle of these woods, right? And so he goes to this house and he knocks on the door, but outside the house, I know it was like kind of like a stable. It was like this garage looking wooden thing in the back. It's like really old. They had like clothes hangers up there with clothes on there. And he goes there and he kind of looking around, right? He knocks on the door. There's a couple animals there as well, like chicken, roosters, whatever you want to call them. But he knocks on the door, and as he knocking on the door, it's clothes up there, and he's taking the clothes down off the lines and putting them on him and his children, right? From them walking for so many days, they were filthy. And so he, like, switching out the baby, putting the baby on something, switching out his own clothes, telling his other two young children, it was a boy and a girl. I can't really remember what the baby was, but he was switching out the clothes. And finally, as he's switching out the clothes, somebody opens up the door, and he was a black guy, and it was a white couple. And the white couple, like, looking out the door, and they telling them, like, hurry up and get in here. And as they get in there, because the dogs would pick up the scent and then lose the scent, pick up the scent and lose the scent. And so by the time he got there, they didn't have the scent. But as he was putting on the clothes and stuff, and as soon as they opened up the door, because he was standing out there for a while, right? They opened up the door, and they began to hear the dogs, and they said, get in here. And they put this man up under the house with his children, and up under this house was a tunnel, right? And they like, stay right here until we can get them off of us, right? And they as well had something to throw off the scent of them, right? So the dogs come pick up the scent of them. And so they go out there and speak to them, and they ask them, like, did you see anybody? He said, we didn't see anybody, but we heard something go like towards that way or whatever. And so they like, are you sure? They kind of stopped. I could kind of see glances of everything, right? Even though I was up under the house, because I'm dreaming, right? And so they was kind of looking at them like unsure, like, like kind of I want to check up in here, right? And I can't remember. I want to say that one of them kind of came in, but not fully in. Had one of the dogs, like, bring the dog up close enough to where you can see that he was trying to make the dog get up there to sniff around. They like, nobody's here. We did not see anybody, right? We heard something. It was that way. They were trying to throw them off, and they finally gave up and went the other way. And they waited a while, right? They sit at the table like they was eating, because it looked like a normal house, right? It was older back in the days, almost like what it would look like in the slave days, right? And they went on here and left. They sit there for a minute because they didn't want them to see that they was moving no type of way. They know they had somebody lagging behind trying to watch their movement. And so they waited a while and did the normal things. Just told them, y'all got to wait up under that house, right? When we do this and that, we'll let you know, but don't not move, right? But being that he was a slave, he already knew not to move, right? Don't tell the kids, shut your asses up. They gave the baby, I think, something to suckle on, so the baby would be quiet as well. And so the movement was fast. but I can see everything. And so as time went on, he just stayed at this certain part, but he kind of was looking down and around and seeing all these. And so by the time the night, they kind of made it look normal throughout the day, right? Because they didn't know if they had somebody lag behind watching them. So they kind of just, he set up under the house looking at these different tunnels where these different tunnels led to. He went so far, I seen him kind of like moving around under there, but not making too much noise, telling the kids that they had to be quiet, right? The kids already knew what was up. The baby was asleep. For some reason, the baby was pacified, right? Because what's so crazy, I knew that the baby was pacified because I can feel like this, me being scared. Like I felt the scaredness of the baby waking up. And so, he started to kind of ramble around in the, down in the tunnels. He didn't go too far, but just look around and see where these different tunnels lead to. And so, at nighttime, the lady lifted up, basically the lady and her husband, they had lifted up this floorboard thing, and they looked under and they said, we got to go now. And they had these lamp things in their hand, and then they got them so far and told him which way to go, right? They went with him so far and then told him which way to go, and he went on ahead and went. And after that, I ended up waking up. And so, I didn't think about it for a while, right? When I woke up, I didn't think about it for a while. And then later on, this dream came back to me. That's a lot of times how it worked for me, right? This dream came back to me when I woke up. I kind of forgot about it, right? I got to moving around. But as days went by, this dream was brought back up to me. And I'm sitting there thinking like, what was that all about, right? What the hell was that type of dream all about, right? Once it came back to me days later, probably a week, maybe even more later. And so, I sit there and I thought about it for a while. And I said, that guy was me, right? The guy was me. And the children was mine. I'm like, well, where was the mother at? And what I had seen is that I had left the mother, right? I don't know if the mother knew I was leaving. I'm assuming she'd had to know I was leaving. I don't know, but I took the babies, right? I took myself and I took the kids. And God was showing me right then and there in that dream about past lives, right? Because that was something that I wanted to know a while back about if that stuff is real, right? And this is why I say that you got to get your own relationship with God, because you will see why certain things take place in your life, right? I always heard about like stuff like past life regressions and all these different type of stuff, right? But I said, I'm not doing nothing like that. I ain't going in there letting nobody picking around up in my mind and all that. I just feel like it was too much, right? But God will show you if that's what you are supposed to see, right? God will show you. And I wanted to also know, was that type of stuff real? And God showed me. Well, I didn't have to go dig off for nothing. I didn't have to go do nothing, right? God will show you that type of stuff is real, right? Past lives. And so this is what I'm saying. Can't nobody tell me. This is my own personal relationship I have with the Most High. And the questions that I ask at that time, they might not be answered right. They didn't get what's even crazier is this. My question didn't even get answered right away. My question got answered years later. And the reason why I knew the timing, because at the point of this past life regression, where I started to question, like, was that type of stuff real? I was actually looking into it, like, is this stuff real, right? And I started to see on certain apps, especially this particular app, that people was going to go do this stuff. And I'm like, ooh, I'm not doing nothing like that, right? I just feel like if it's meant for me to know, God to show it to me. I still didn't know if it was real. I seen people go and get it done, but I just still didn't know. And God showed me something. If I want you to see something, I'm going to allow you to see it, right? Years later went by, y'all, years. From the time that I started looking to see was that type of stuff even real, and from the time that God actually ended up showing me something, I didn't have to go do nothing like that, right? I went to sleep. Y'all forgot that I even asked that question. And many years later, I had this dream. And I kept saying, who the hell is this damn man? Who is that man? Why are you showing me that man, right? And the man was me. But what's crazy is, in the dream, I knew it was me, right? But once I woke up, I forgot. And days, like I said, probably even a week later, maybe even more, the dream came back up to me. And I'm like, what type of dream was that? Like, I forgot I even had the dream, right? And God was showing me that was you. Yeah, that was you with your babies, right? And I'm like, but where was the mother at? That's your question. Where was the mother? Right? This is your answer to why you have went through certain things in your life. You go so far within your life, right? And you look at how you brung up, right? You look at like, damn, I brung up foul as hell, right? I was brung up messed the hell up, right? Like, what the hell? I've been struggling since I came out the womb. God, like, you had a lot of karmic debt to pay back. But not only that, God will send you into a lineage, right? And that lineage is like straight up with the karmic debt that you owed and all that type of stuff, right? It's like straight calculation. It can't be nobody but God, right? It's almost like you come up with a plan before you come here. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go right over there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like, and I'm going to pay that back through that. Like, I boot crap y'all now. I can't make this up. And so, it was a relationship I was in. And the relationship was so freaking bad. I mean, horrid. And I'm like, why did I go through that, right? What the hell? I didn't deserve nothing like that. I've never done nothing to nobody, right? And God showed me, right? And around that time, I was complaining. I kept saying, I ain't never did nothing to nobody, God. Why am I going through this, right? I have never in my life wanted destruction on nobody, wish destruction on nobody, to put nothing nobody do. Like, I've been a sweetheart. And God said, yeah, you have. In this life. In this life, you've been a sweetheart. The other ones, you done left the wife. You got to bounce with the kids on her. Like, hold on, bitch. Wait a minute. That's not funny. Then I knew, let me tell y'all something. God's so cold. I watched a movie like a month ago. In this particular movie, I forgot the name of it. This old man, he was passing away. I think he had cancer or something. And he had cancer. And so he was, I don't know if he was inside of a building. Y'all can't remember the full movie because I watched it a couple months ago. But whatever, somehow he ended up getting a note slid to him. And his note was telling him to go to this place. And so basically he ended up going to this place. It happened so fast, right? That he didn't do any research or nothing like that. His sickness was kicking in, right? And every time he would cough up like blood and stuff. And so he ended up getting his note slid to him. And when the note got slid to him, he went to this place and the man said, we gonna stage your D date. And you gonna go out with your friend, and while you out with your friend, take this medicine, and basically you gonna pass, right? And we gonna put you in the hospital and announce that you're gone, right? And he was real wealthy, real rich, but he had made a couple plans before he ended up, doing this. And what happened was he took the medicine, and he was sitting out in public with his friend. They was sitting down eating, and he took the medicine while he was out so it can be in a public place, stage basically. And they heard and got him in the back of the ambulance. The ambulance came and got him. He got in the back of the ambulance and he was took to this place. And it was another body sitting on the side of him. And he looked over, right? And he like, what the hell? It's another body sitting on the side. Basically, they end up putting his consciousness inside of this other body, right? This other man who had donated his body because his daughter passed away. His daughter was sick, right? And so he got tired of, he was in like the army or something like that. And he got tired of like struggling paying for the daughter medicine. So he had made this arrangement for somebody else to use his body, right? And this man had to take this medicine. As long as he took this medicine, he was going to be fine. They said he was going to do this for a year. But a couple of times he had forgot to take the medicine on time. And he started having these visions, right, of another life. And he like, something ain't right, right? But in the end, he ended up going ahead and letting his consciousness fade in that way so the man could wake up to his child, right? And so I'm like, why am I seeing this movie, right? And in that movie, it basically took me back to the dream, right? The dream that I had about like the consciousness, how our consciousness is basically, we are nothing but a ball of consciousness, a ball of energy, right? And God was showing me that I do believe in, like, when we pass and we cross over, that we go to different lives, that we have karmic debt that we have acquired, and that we have to pay that karmic debt back, and we go into these different lineages to break off certain things and all this stuff, as well as pay back what we have done in our karmic debt. And so, anyways, I want to get lost in the sauce. I just want to put that out there, what I have experienced and what I have been shown, right? When it comes to this type of stuff and why I believe what it is that I believe. Things are not just by coincidence. Anything that I want to know, I get the answer to it, right? And you have to be willing to pay attention to understand what is taking place and what is around you and what is being shown to you. And it's up to you whether you're going to take it in or not, or whether you're going to pay enough attention, right? Close enough attention to understand what's being told. And a lot of times, like the way it go, like I told y'all, this is something I want to know years back, right? This is how you know it's divine intervention. This is something I want to know years back. I forgot all about it. It's years later, and I had a dream, right? And then it's months later, I watch a movie, right? And then I end up putting it all together. That is divine intervention. You understand? There's no way in the hell I should be able to put that together like that. It's called divine intervention. And so, you ain't got to believe me, right? You do your own stuff. You get your own relationship. And so, what am I about to say? Okay. So with that being said, right? As I see that this person, I'm watching these people around me, walking around trying to act like, be like, right? And I'm looking at them, I'm going to grab that, right? But they're doing it with a set intention, right? It's not that they just want to be like and this, that, and the other. You got the people trying to full on take over what they feel is for you, right? What they feel this time is it, right? They done ruined the last thing, the new thing, that thing, and this thing, right? And they all jumping and hopping and popping in, right? Let me come in and take this area. Let me come in and take that area. Let me come in and take this area. Let me come in and take that area. Not understanding what those areas hold, what those key components in your life hold, right? And so when they coming in and they see you with a thing and it looks like, right? Because nobody know what's going on behind the scenes, right? Because it looked like. You get what I'm saying? They wanted to come in and hop in and take your place in that area, right? And I always tell you, what's really for you is not able to be taken away from you. You understand? The only thing that can be taken from you is things like that, right? That was karmic debt that had to be owed back, right? And so when I was seeing this individual doing all this horrific stuff, and I'm looking, and after I left that person alone, and this dream came around, a year or two after I left this person, it was like a little bit over, not 2 years, but maybe about a year to a year and 4 or 5 months, right, when I had this dream. And so when I look back, I'm like, even if that person was sent in, right, if that was sent in through a person of a person, y'all, they try to delete my whole dang on thing. Storage full. They don't want me to say what I'm about to say, y'all. They don't want me to say what I'm about to say. So anyways, y'all. So I was saying that. Let me see basically what I was saying is this. I end up finding out that this person was my wife in my past life that I had left behind. You understand? And so even though that person was sent in, right? Just say you had a person that was in prison, right? And that person, one of your family members was in prison, that person ran into that person, right? And they like, shit, I know this person and my family got this inheritance, right? And da-da-da-da-da, we need to da-da-da-da. They staged that incident, right? And the person like, shit, I'm down with it. And they be sent in, right? They be so willing to do what it is. They don't even know why they so willing and so ready to be a participant in this thing against you, because they so remember, even if they don't remember, right? And it's like a something for you. They look at you and they see you and they like, oh, yeah, that one. I want to do it to that one, right? I want to be down with the cause. But they don't understand what's driving them. What's driving them is the fact that, like I said, after I had that dream and I looked at what that person was doing, like I said, even if you got out of there on your last limb, you got out of there, right? You was going to always come out. But you owed that thing karmic debt, right? Why it was able to be sent in, even if they thought that they were just doing a thing on their own, right? Something about that soul call. They soul remember, right? They had a vengeance in their heart and their mind, they soul for you, because they had a vengeance in their consciousness towards you. Y'all, it's not funny, because of things, right? This is why I say I believe in past lives. It's too much like, right? And the things that, like, why would I having a dream about a big old bald head black man that got all these muscles all over, right? And God showed me that was instilled in me for me to know what it was, right? And so I kept saying to me, like, where is the wife at? I mean, where she had something had to be wrong. Maybe she was sick, right? And even me being where I'm at today, me being who I am, I'm making excuses to why the wife wasn't there because where I'm at today, like, I mean, I wouldn't have left that person, right? Right? I ain't no way. Not who I am today. I wouldn't have left that person, right? I know I wouldn't have never left my wife, my husband behind and something like that, right? God, like, oh yeah, you did though. And that person took a big blow because of you. Right, in your last life, right? Whether it was the last one or the one before that or one before that, right? And they act like slavery was so long ago, it really ain't, right? And so, when I seen what I seen, and I kept saying, where was the wife at, right? I know I wouldn't have left the wife. Maybe she was gone, right? Maybe I was just there with the kids, and God like, look, the baby, you had the baby, right? And when I seen the baby, I'm like, what was the baby? I mean, was she dead or something? God, like, no, you left her, right? Like, I knew in me that I left her, right? Even though I kept making excuses because of who I am today, I knew today I wouldn't have left nobody behind, nobody, right? In me today is like that movie. He said, just one more. What's the name of that movie? When he was on the battlefield, he kept going back and saying, God, just let me get one more. He carried all them men. That's how I feel in my soul today. Like, I'm not leaving nobody. God, just give me the strength to get one more, right? That's who I am today. But God, like in the last lifetime, you made a decision. You got up, you got those kids in the middle of the night, right? And you left her there. You left with the babies. You left with her, the two youngest and the baby, right? God, like how you have a baby hanging on front of you if the mama wasn't around, right? Because I'm like, God, I wouldn't have left that person, right? And I found out that my ex, right, that I was with was my wife in my last life. I was tripping out, right? When God was showing me these things, this is why that relationship out of our relationship was so bad, right? And I kept saying, no, and this person still won't let me go. God is going to have to lift this person out of here because my karmic debt is paid. And even after the karmic debt was paid, God even allowed this person so much time to get it together and snap out of it, and they won't, and they even fell into more darkness. And so God like, okay, right, it's time for you to live, and this person might have to go, right? This is why what I'm saying, that we are on a new path. We are on a new path, a new timeline. A lot of the karmic debt, this is why it's vital to get on the things that you need to get on. And when God is calling you to shake loose, no matter how hard it is to shake loose in the times, right? God was calling us, a lot of us, to shift in time. It was like a big old, like a samurai movement, right? In these time frames, in these different alignments in the planets, right? It was like it's a shift. And so a lot of people have broke free. And before the full freedom, you had to go into like one or two more of those contracts to go ahead and wipe them on out, right? Well, it's like, well, they did all that. Go ahead and go that way, right? And so you got people in the background who's seeing what you are in and caught it on it for themselves. Let me have that. Let me go sprinkle sugar and spice and everything nice over that person. Oh yeah. Hey, when I be seeing stuff, I be like, go on, have it. These people don't even know that they want something of yours so bad because of what it look like and it sound like and it could be, right? When I seen this person walk in the house with this thing, right, this person, I'm looking like, is you serious right now? This is a person that I know for a fact don't have the confidence to even. You understand? This is what I'm seeing. And God like, don't you dare say a damn thing, right? I'm not saying nothing anyways, but it's like, don't say nothing. Don't even warn them. Don't even nothing, right? Because I've always been a person when I see something in somebody, right? It's not even about the situation. It's about when you see what you see within people, right? I've always been that person to tell especially if you close to my people, right? You close to me. That ain't right. That person's whole behavior is weird, right? I mean, did you see what they over there doing? Man, you better get that up off of you. Get that away from you, right? Because that's going to turn into something you don't want nothing to do with. I used to warn people like that. But you know what I started learning? The same people you warn turn against you and start doing stuff to you because that's what they want. They miserable, they bitter, they ain't got confidence within themselves, right? And so when you get to point out things and flaws and stuff that you see to save them, what they say, don't save them. They don't want to be saved. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. Let them have that. If they calling on God, see what they doing, let them have it. Because a lot of y'all is being set free. Let them people have it. Oh, you want that? And you gonna still get what God. Let me tell you something. Somebody could be like, oh, she talking like that? Oh, he talking like that? Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to the witch doctor and have them take it on. Do you not understand that person still gonna get what God got? If that person was supposed to be a trillionaire in that lifetime, they might not get it in that way, right? But it's still coming to them. And now you gotta be the one. And you don't even understand that what they're doing was a part of their karmic debt. What God got that person doing to pay that back to the collective consciousness, right? Because that person was a king or queen in their whole life, their last lifetime. And they done ruined. That person could have been a queen or king in their last lifetime that was selfish, right? That done ruined and plagued the whole congregation and the nation. And now God like, you was a king or queen in your last lifetime. You might not even know why you got this urge to go up in the forefront. Why you got this urge to help the collective consciousness. Why you got this urge, fight that urge. And fight that urge, right? You might not even know why you got this urge, and God will put you in that place, and when you don't do it, you get chastised. For every day you sit there for the real ones, right? It's a chastisement that come over you when God tell you to get that word or to go into sanctuary to heal yourself, right? Because it's like being stoned spiritually. It's like, you know how back in the days when women would do certain stuff, right? They say, oh, she slept with a whole bunch of men. And then they told some stone them, right? When they told Yahweh to stone that woman, he said, who am I to cast the first stone? If ain't none of y'all in here sinned, then you cast the first stone if you cast the first stone if you never sinned. They said that the elders began to walk out first because they knew better. They kept trying to set him up and entrap him to keep and they still did what they did in the end. Because it was prophecy, was always written. It wasn't nothing nobody could do differently. You understand? I don't care who these people think they is or what they think they doing in the background. Things are already written. Things are already destined. You understand? And so when these people are sitting in the background trying to look like something on these here internets and trying to be something in your background, your family member trying to take your man. I want your man keep calling me because he want me to see that he wants me to be with him because I am the one he need. They in the background calling on your man, your friend, your destined path. If your destined path supposed to make you a millionaire, they ain't got nothing to do with that. It got something to do with you cleaning up your karmic debt and doing what God called you to do, right? And if you put that effort in and somebody come up in the forefront and say, I want that for myself because I want to look like something on it. God know everybody's intentions. When people say, oh, God know my heart. He knows my heart. Yes, he do. Yes, he do. Yes, he do. He know your wicked, trifling heart. Yes, he do. And you over there talking some sprinkle some sugar in there and some pepper. Sprinkles a little bit of sugar and pepper up in there so I can take that from him. God like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let him have it. Let him have it. Because you don't know what, you got to be more careful. That person still going to get what is theirs. When we are pulled up in the forefront to do a thing, God, child, that is part of our mission. Well, you calling on it for yourself because you want to be seen. You're going to be seen. I told this guy at work, he was running around mocking God. Him and another woman. This black guy trying to be in the in crowd. With the people at work, with the other people at work. Want to be in the in crowd. The woman, he walked up, mocked, and the woman mocked right behind him. I told her, I said, you better go in that car and repent to God. I don't care. You ain't got to do it for me. You can send your ego all day. I said, when you in that car, you better ask for God forgiveness. Her life fell apart. Her marriage fell apart. She ain't repent. Her husband took himself out of here. This happened within a matter of 30 days for mocking God. And I told that black dude right in his face, and it just slipped out of me. I said, and you will become a chosen with no reward. Oh, yes, you are. You mocking God up in here like this stuff is a game. I don't care what they talking about. I seen it with my own two eyes what happened to him. I seen it with my own two eyes. And so, I'm going to end with this. Be careful what you calling on for yourself. Be careful with mocking God. Be careful of calling somebody else's stuff on while you sit up there blocking that person message from getting out there and taking bits and pieces of that person's message and remixing it. Remixing it as your own. trying to be like somebody, and you have not served your penalties in life. You have not served your karma. Some people are in places and spaces by cheating their way to the top. And you think that you're going to come up against what God is having somebody to do. You think that you're going to stop that person even by way of death. You think that you're going to go live your happily ever after you cause that person problems and your way to the top. Oh, these last jobs too. Oh, since you this and you that, let me see you wiggle your way out of that. Since you connected to God, we're going to blackball you. Since you connected to God, we're going to not pay attention to what you're telling us about your health. Since you connected to God, after these people have already done things to you time and time again. After these people have stalked you, gawked you, blackballed you, blacklisted you, sending you 100 emails through different tip services after you tell your testimony about what they did. Think they're going to continue to bully? Like God ain't about to come see them and knock at their door. See, the thing about it is this. One thing God told me is this. I asked God something one day. I said, God, how is your people blessed when a lot of your people go through struggle here? God said, because when I asked this question, right, and with some other questions that I asked God, and one day I went to move my Bible, I always just slip up on something, right, and I went to grab it and it slipped, always slips, right, and I said, let me look at this, right, every time, let me look at this, and it's right on key with what I asked God, and it said on there, I think this was Ezekiel on this particular page, it said, he was talking to Ezekiel about the bones and the bag of bones, and to take and do this with the bag of bones. I mean, not the bag of bones, but the alleyway or whatever this was of bones, right? And to take that bone and do this and do this and do that, right? He was giving different instructions about these bones, the valley of the bones. And on that page, it also said, don't even trust your family. They don't want me talking about this, guys. I was saying that these people, it said, don't trust your family because they have made cries out against you, right? They have even made cries out against you. Don't trust your family. And so a couple days ago, God told me to watch The Passion of Christ, right? He's been telling me to watch The Passion of Christ for over the last 2 years, right? And something popped up on my phone a couple days ago, and it was about the making of The Passion of Christ and what was taking place in this Passion of Christ scene, right? When this guy went to go make The Passion of Christ, all the crazy stuff that was going on. And I said, okay, God, okay, I'm done, right? I'm going to go watch it. Y'all, I sit down and I pulled up one of these here apps and I said, it might not even be on there, right? I mean, that's a coincidence that would be on there, right? Y'all, I pulled up this app, and the first time I clicked on this app, it pulled up, and I sit there and I watched it. And I noticed that I had my first time going to go watch it, y'all, I was a little girl. And I cried throughout the whole movie, so I couldn't really catch everything. I couldn't catch everything. But what's crazy is, weeks before that, God told me to sit down and watch the story of Mary, right? I sat down and watched the story of Mary, his mother. And then he told me to watch The Passion of Christ. And so I sat down and watched The Passion of Christ. But do y'all know, the whole time that I watched that I had a great connection with Mary, Jesus' mother. Grand connection with her. And so y'all got chills throughout my body. And so I'm like, God, why he's still working with me on this here, right? God, why are you having me watch all these different things, right? What is going on? That is for me right now, right? I'm not going to go too far up into there. But what I want to say is that, that's what I want to say. God was also let my hand slip again. And on that, when my hand slipped again, it said that the people who is really for God, the people that's actually connected to God like that, they are hated by people. It said that his people, his true people, are hated by people, right? And so, because I kept saying, well, why is it that all these people is like this, and you know, with your people, like our finances and all these different things? God said, because my true people are hated. His true people, anybody up there talking about they this and they that and they this and they that and they that. God said, my people are hated. His true people are hated. They put them on the street. A lot of his people are homeless. A lot of his people are struggling. A lot of his people are in a place, in a space, at the hands of others, talking about they doing justice. Talking about that they are this and they're that and they're this and they're that, and they're blocking these people. God's true people are being blocked. Not these ones that talking about they connected. Not these true ones talking about they, because you know, and all this. No, God said in that scripture that his people, his true people, are hated. A lot of these people sit up in the forefront that's saying that they're representation of God, right? And they're sitting in these positions. God have been showing me a lot, right? I don't want to get too deep off into that right now. Y'all, God have gave me so many words, and it's so much to put out and so many truths. And y'all, oh my God, it's beautiful. But it's an ugly truth. It's beautiful, a beautiful, ugly truth. It's a torture, but a beautiful torture. I'm not explaining. A lot of guys, people are watched 24/7. I heard in the spirit, they follow your star. They know who you are when you come back into this place, in this space. Because a lot of us operate out of pure heart space. We are different. It's a pureness. I didn't say we was perfect. No, we're not. But we far from perfect. Understand? But God said that you come to him. Right? He also gave me Solomon David. And he was saying about his people. When David went to him, they said this king in all his glory. Right? He said, God Lord, right? He is the King of Kings, and David in all his glory, he bowed and kneeled before the King of Kings, right? And I said, okay, God, what is this? And he was saying that, where do these people get off addressing me standing? Tell the people to get on their knees. Oh, I got chills. Tell the people to get on their knees when they address me. To go off there because they'll say it's full. They've been erasing my content and blocking me and heard me saying that, oh, the storage is full, but it's never full. Yo, I've seen a lot, right? It's something, it's a demon roaming this land. It's so bad. Y'all, I was waiting on something to come through the mail. And do y'all know that the man got on this thing, canceled my car when the car was already on its way? Like, it's something that is plaguing. It's like multiple demons being unleashed. It's like an activation. So y'all be careful, right? Another thing I was watching on my phone was about these different skinwalkers, right? And these different things. A lot of that type of stuff been coming across my phone. And I said, what is this stuff coming across my phone for with these skinwalkers? And it was like these different stories, right? And I've been listening to them. So I'm like, why is this stuff on my phone like this? And I said, somebody put this up here, right? Here I go with this. And God, like, even if they did, what can you get out of it, right? And I was like, okay, be careful. When it was this one story of this guy, and his grandfather told him, he was out there doing him, right? He was a kid. His grandfather told him when he was a kid, if your brother, sister, mama, daddy, even the dog come back looking a certain type of way, like it's a look, right? And don't ignore it, right? Run, and you run like hell. When you see this, you run and you run like hell, right? And I got chills. And so later on in life, him and his brother was in the room sleeping, and they heard this noise on the side of the wall, right? And they like, what is this noise, right? First, he kept hearing it. Then the brother started eventually hearing it. And this thing kept coming back night after night. And the dog ended up finally coming up missing. So they went around looking for the dog, y'all, for over like 2-3 weeks. They was looking for this dog. And about a month passed, and his dog just reappeared in the yard. And he said that the dog looked funny, like, when he was calling the dog wasn't really answering, right? And so he told his mama, there's such and such in the yard, the dog name, whatever. Don't let the dog in the house, because he had remembered what his grandfather had said to him. He said, don't let that dog in the house. Don't let that dog in the house, right? Something ain't right. Something ain't right with the eyes. He said that he was like standing on the hind legs, like weird stuff that the dog didn't do. And he had remembered what his grandfather told him. And so the mom like, what are you talking about, right? Not listening, hard-headed. And she was letting the dog come to the entryway. When the dog came in, the dog went to snap at her. And she like, oh, hell no. And they heard him threw the dog out of the house. And they called the grandfather, and the grandfather had to come over there and sage the house out basically, and bless the house and do all this other stuff, right? And create symbols to protect the house from this evil. And so he said it never came back. And so he ended up getting older, and he became a person, what's like the